not having a healthy bank account, the stuff that you help with, will impact your mental clarity. It will impact your mind. Not having a healthy body will impact all of them. How did Ultimate FD come about, and what inspired your book, Small Business, Big Profit?
Well, I spent a long time trying to solve it, and I remember this was without a doubt the most stressful, the most difficult time in my career. You know, I kind of fell into entrepreneurship, and this was 3 or 4 years in, and the business just started to fall apart essentially, and we were screwed. Like financially, we were in a really, really difficult place. And the reason we were failing is because we couldn't understand our numbers, and I was a chartered accountant, and I still couldn't get my head around why on earth this was going wrong.
Welcome to the Carnivore Entrepreneur Show, where health unlocks true wealth. It's time to reclaim your strength, ignite your energy, and live life with purpose. Master your body, sharpen your mind, and dominate your path. Live life how it's supposed to be lived, on your terms. Let's go. Hi guys, and welcome to the next episode of the Carnivore Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Grant Hutchby, the Carnivore Entrepreneur, and today we have with us Josh Keegan. I'm not going to take away his fire, so I'll pass over to Josh to do the intro.
Hey everyone, I am delighted to be here. My name is Joshua Keegan. I am the founder of a company called Ultimate FD. We're basically a firm of accountants. We build world-class finance functions for 7-figure entrepreneurs. I'm an Amazon #1 best-selling author with my book, Small Business, Big Profit. And yeah, podcast host as well as entrepreneur. Excited to dive into it today.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us, Josh, and giving up your valuable time. I always start off these shows with the same question, which is the Carnivore Entrepreneur Show is all about meat, muscles, mindset, and money. Tell me why you are qualified to be a carnivore entrepreneur.
Well, I guess because I like all of these things. I think obviously we've known each other for a number of years now, and my perception of you was that, well, basically my main rule with Grant is you want to get ahead of him in the lunch queue because you know that if you're behind him for the chicken or any kind of protein.
I think we had a fight over the chicken once, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We ate it all. And I was like behind us, like, oh my goodness. And you were on your seconds. I haven't got my first yet. So obviously I had that perception and that, that view. And obviously then you start sharing behind the scenes. And it's been like so cool to watch because, yeah, I very much align with a lot of these different things. So meat, I like my meat. I like my protein. I think protein intake is incredibly important for, a healthy body, healthy mind.
Yeah.
Muscles, I would love to say that I am all over this, but I do my best. I'm very consistent with my training, have a training regime, have a PT, and training is one of those anchors for me that's important. I know I could be doing more, but I also could be doing a lot less. And then my final one is money. And obviously my whole business and profile is built around helping entrepreneurs basically take money from the top line to the bottom line. So it's all about building lucrative companies that people can sell, essentially. So yeah, we're very much aligned. And that's why I feel that I'm qualified to be here. If you don't feel the same, then we can finish that. We can finish it now. Be quite a short episode, but I'm hoping we can continue.
Yeah, I normally sort of screen my clients a little bit before the show, so wouldn't have asked you on if I didn't think you were qualified, mate. So yeah, brilliant, perfect. And just to get things kicked off, really, you've already mentioned we met a couple of years ago, property entrepreneur, and one of the things, obviously, I took away straight away was your free assessment of our business, which didn't start our financial journey, but sort of started this level of financial clarity, which I think we've got now. And I really do believe that your support and Ultimate FD sort of inspired that journey. The question that I've got is, how did Ultimate FD come about, and what inspired your book, Small Business, Big Profit?
Yeah, so I think you can kind of go back to about 7 or 8 years actually for like the inception. I mean, Ultimate FD's only actually been going for about 2.5 years officially, but about 8 years ago, I was scaling a similar business to yours. So I appreciate you've got this, but you also have your SA management company. I was doing a HMO management company at the time, which is basically a letting agency for professional house shares. And it was scaling, it was growing. And on the face of it, social media, things were going well. We were we were absolutely killing it online. But then the bank balance kept getting smaller, and we couldn't really work out why. And we knew we had a problem, but we couldn't understand, because we had accounting, we had systems, we had a bookkeeper, we had everything that if you tick all the boxes of the things you should have in your business, we had all those things. But then we couldn't understand why the cash kept going down. It's like, it's all very well having these finance reviews, having these people telling us like this is how the business is performing. But if we're running out of money, we're running out of money. And it's like no one could actually tell us what was going on. So I spent a long time trying to solve it. And I remember this was without a doubt the most stressful, the most difficult time in my career. I kind of fell into entrepreneurship, and, this was 3 or 4 years in, and the business just started to fall apart essentially. And we were screwed. Like financially, we were in a really, really difficult place. And we were like, well, we've got a problem to solve. And what I didn't share was I'm actually a chartered accountant. So before I actually became an entrepreneur, I did 2.5 years with a company, got my chartership with CGMA, what it's called SEMA back then, it's now CGMA. So I was like, I should have known better as well. So I was an entrepreneur with a failing business. And the reason we were failing is because we couldn't understand our numbers. And I was a chartered accountant. And I still couldn't get my head around why on earth this was going wrong. And yeah, we went on a journey. I paid tax accountants. I paid overpriced FDs at literally £500 an hour. I recruited people in-house. I tried virtual assistants in the Philippines. I tried literally everything to just for somebody to like get to the bottom of this and tell me like what the issue was. And it literally took me about 6 months to kind of get a better financial clarity and realize we had a huge black hole. And the reason we were losing money is because our accounts were being done wrong. We were overstating the performance via VAT. And then we actually found out that we owed HMRC about 100 grand, and we owed our clients a lot of money as well. Our client account was in a deficit. So it's basically a 6-figure black hole, which was a really nasty place to get to. And yeah, we were in a difficult position, and we made a call to trade out of it, which is a difficult call to make. And I was like, well, if we're going to trade out of this, if we're going to get through this and, sort this black hole, and it wasn't really a hard choice to make actually, because we owed clients money. So if it was just us, then maybe we would have made a different decision, but we couldn't not pay clients. Like that was just, through our own ignorance. But anyway, I spent another 12 months or so really pushing it forward, really trying to understand the numbers, really understand what we needed to do, really started working on our business modeling, our planning, put all these financial controls in place, built like an amazing, like commercially driven finance department, which gave me everything I need every single month. And we finally got to the end of the black hole. We solved that problem. And then we kept scaling the company and kept like really building the robust financial controls, the forecasting, the modeling, the budgets, etc. And eventually we managed to get to that business where it's literally kicking out 40% net margins, which is very high. And I was able to work on it for about 90 minutes a week because of the teams, the processes, the systems, the financial controls, everything that was in place. And eventually went on to then exit that company at the end of 2021. So it was a very difficult journey, but the kind of story, it's got obviously a very happy ending to that story. But it just made me realize that even as a chartered accountant, I struggled with the financial controls needed to scale a company profitably. And then I realized, well, if I struggled, most entrepreneurs don't have a hope in hell. So
yeah.
Ultimate FD was born out of people saying, well, you've done this, can you build? And they say, well, can you help? It actually started because people say, can you mentor me? I've got a letting agency, can you mentor me in selling it? And I go, yeah, absolutely cool. What are your numbers? And they go, oh, well, it's this, it's that. I don't know. It's like, well, before we can even talk about mentorship, let's build you a finance department so we actually know what the numbers are, and then we can take you on the journey you want to get to. And so the first client said, well, okay. And I was like, I'll teach you how to do it. I'll work with you, whatever you need. They said, well, can you just do it for me? And I said, yeah, we can do that. And they said, how much? I said, $2,000. And they went, yeah. And I went, oh, that was easy. And then we had our first client. We built a finance department for them. Then more people asked to do the same. And yeah, it just kind of spiraled from there over the last 5 years. And the last 2.5 years ago, we actually made it an official company, and it became its own thing, own team. And now we've got a team of 10. We do a lot of different things, and we help in lots of different capacities, basically entrepreneurs that want to scale, exit, make more money, make more profit, what they've already got.
Excellent. Wow. Well, that covers actually a couple questions I was going to ask. So yeah, it sounds like you've been on a real core journey. And I think what I'm trying to do is trying to promote entrepreneurs to live a life of true wealth, which isn't just making money, but not making money or even losing money can have a significant impact on your stress levels and other areas of your life. So I fundamentally believe that to attain true wealth, you need to have a healthy body, a healthy mind, and a healthy bank account. Because if you don't have one of those three, it will impact the other. So like not having a healthy bank account, the stuff that you help with, will impact your mental clarity. It will impact your mind. Not having a healthy body will impact all of them. So what I like to touch on with everyone that comes on the show is each of those areas. So I always like to start with body, because I truly believe that that is the foundation to true wealth. Because if you can't enjoy the fruits of your labor, if you can't move and do the things that you want to do, what's the point, right? So discipline in physical performance often feeds your business discipline. What fitness or nutrition routine keeps you sharp?
Yeah, and I agree with the sentiment. There's an old saying, isn't there, that healthy people want thousands of things, whereas sick people want only one.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's so true, and it's so hard because we take all this stuff for granted, don't we? And that's why I think the nature's in the shape that it is because a lot of people have to experience real pain to do what we do in terms of training and physical fitness. Yeah, I agree. I've been around the houses with this a lot in terms of like tried loads of different things. I've done body transformations. I've done normal kind of weightlifting in the gym. I've done marathons. I've done CrossFit. I've tried like lots of different things, but I can honestly say it must be about 2.5 years now. I finally found something that works for me that keeps me very, very consistent. I'll share what that is. But I think the key is, it's like, I think the biggest lesson I've had in all this thing is like, whatever you decide to do, it should be a thing that you can do consistently for years and years and years, and you're
Definitely.
not going to get bored. That is my sentiment. Because I've tried training 6 days a week. It's great for 2 weeks. Then I kind of need to sleep for 3 days and feel awful. I've tried it all. So my routine at the moment, which I think works really well, is I basically do one cardio a week, which is normally football on a Monday night. I do think everyone should try and have some sort of team base or some sort of fun within their training. Then I do one home workout a week, which I've literally just done this morning, which I do at home. I've got some weights, I've got a pull-up bar, and that's normally about an hour and 5 minutes, and that's pretty grueling. Then I have a PT on a Friday. So tomorrow morning I'll have a PT. We're recording this on a Thursday, and with him, we always start the session with a skill. So, for example, the last 18 months, 2 years, I've been learning to do muscle ups, like CrossFit style, gymnastic style muscle ups, and I really recommend that for anybody because I found that's kept me really engaged because you're kind of training to learn something you want to do. So I've got to a place now where I can do 3 of them consistently. The goal by the end of the year was 5. And I'm pretty sure I could do it. We're just taking our time to get there. But then once that's done, we're going to start handstand walks. It's like, it'd be cool to be able to do handstand walks, wouldn't it? And the stuff you have to put in place to get that skill sorted in terms of like the training outside it, like making your shoulders much stronger, loads of pull-ups, whatever is part of it. And then you start progressing at something that's difficult that you thought you couldn't do. And it feels fantastic. So I highly recommend that. And then I train on a Sunday as well and do weights training. Generally the kind of two sessions I do at the gym tend to be the kind of bigger lifts, the kind of is it Olympic lifts where it's like the bench, deadlift, squats, and
I think they're called Olympic lifts. Yeah,
Olympic lifts, whatever it may be. But I think the keys for that though is, as I said, I don't think it matters how much you train or how much you don't train. I think the biggest game changer for me and why I've been consistent over the last 2 years is training a bit less. So I always used to try and do 4 gym and 1 football, and I would normally miss the 4th, and it used to cause me a lot of stress that I'd miss it because I just found it hard to fit in. Particularly, I've got 2 very young kids, so just the last couple of years it's been really difficult to get that in. But the biggest game changer, without doubt, is having that Friday session with my PT booked in, and then he does the programming for the rest of the week. So I just turn up. He's got an app, and he just puts it in the app, and I just do what I'm told. And it's like, yeah. I think the more you take the guesswork out of it, the more you just do what you're told. And I've never made so much progress because he's tracking my lifts, watching my lifts, and just telling me what to do. And all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, do you know your 1 rep max has gone up by 15%?" I was like, "No, I didn't know. That's good. That's good to hear." And I think having that taken care for you has been the biggest one for me on that front.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think a lot of people miss the point of a personal trainer, because I used to be one, and the point of a personal trainer is not to teach you what to do; it's to make sure you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
bonkers that we need it, but we do. Like, without, I sometimes go to the gym. It's like when I'm not planning my week. Like, I always plan my week, and if I don't plan my week, I feel really lost. And I kind of do stuff, but it just feels really, I'm all over the place. If I ever go to the gym and just think, oh, he's not got me a session in because I'm on holiday or whatever, I'll just go and do something. I
yeah.
feel really unproductive. The time seems to drag on. I don't feel like it's a good session. Whereas when it's been planned, I think it just gets results.
Yeah, no, exactly. Cool. Yeah, and I think I definitely resonate with that sentiment. Sometimes less is more. Like, if you do less stuff but consistently with intention and
100%.
measurement, then you actually get better results from it. I think a lot of people think, oh, I need to go to the gym every day and spend an hour and a half in the gym every single day doing X, Y, and Z, and they end up, either burnt out, tired, or disappointed because they didn't do it.
Yeah, if you train 6 days a week, whatever, which I know some people that do that, and you do that consistently for a period of time, absolutely fair play to you. Like, great, like, keep doing that. But if you do 6 days a week for 3 weeks, then you fall off for 2 weeks. They used to be at my previous gym. They used to have a 5 a.m. high rocks class. And I was for 5 a.m. high rocks. So it's like really intense at 5 a.m. So they're getting up super early and going to train at 5 a.m. And it's like every day. And some people were there literally every day. And you knew those people. I'd see them every single day. Some people, you see them for like 4 days. They're like, this is the best I've ever done. This is amazing. Like, I'm a lifer for this now. Then they just disappear for 4 weeks. Like, what happened? Where did you go? And you're like, I felt so tired. I was burnt out. I was exhausted. It's like, I think it's just, that's been the biggest game. Like, with health and fitness, like, I'm not in the shape I'm not in the shape I'd like to be, because I think we'd all like to have chiseled abs. We'd all like to lose 5 kilograms. We'd all like to be in a better place. Like, that's my perception, but I'm not really willing to sacrifice more than what I've already have. So I'm very happy with, as long as I get my training, as long as I do things consistently, I'm cool with that now. And I think that's kind of been a bit of maturity with my training over the last couple of years.
Good. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to learn that, because as entrepreneurs, we've got a lot going on. It's more than just training. We've got families, businesses, and other things that we do,
I think we all just, I think entrepreneurs as well, like, we're our own worst enemy, because I think the way we think about everything is quite extreme.
Beast mode.
Yeah, it's always extreme. It's always like, what was I thinking about the other day? I was thinking, I can't remember what it was. I was thinking about something. I caught myself doing it. Like, it might be to about marketing or something. And I thought about, we could do this thing, whatever it was. I was like, yeah, we do that every day for 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I was like, whoa, how did that just come from not doing it to, like, it has to now be 4 hours a day, 7 days a week? Like, where did that even come from? Like, there's probably a middle ground, which actually means it happens, rather than the extreme, which happens for 3 or 4 weeks, and then you just give up because it's just too much.
Yeah, no, exactly. Okay, cool. So I guess, how do you feel that a strong body underpins a strong business and strong business decisions?
Well, I think I was literally just doing, in this workout I just did this morning, I was doing plank at the end. So I was doing planks, and the workout's really tough in terms of, it's like, at the end of it, you have 6 1-minute planks with some like kind of sit-ups in the middle. And that's a lot. I think it's a lot to do 6 1-minute planks. That's disgusting. And to be honest, I didn't do very well. And last week I did it, and I nailed it. And I was thinking, what's the difference? Because last week I did all 6 1-minutes without stopping. This week I didn't. And I think, actually where I came down to, which is kind of a separate point, is last week I was doing it with 2 other people. So 2 other people, I was at the Belfry, 2 other people were doing it with me. And I was like, they were like literally like next to me. And I was like, there's no way I'm going down. Like, there's no way I'm going down. And then in the plank I was doing today, like, for some reason, just the pain got like high very quickly. And I just kept giving in. And I think what I said to myself was like, look, if you can't do this, if you can't just overcome that little bit of pain for 20 seconds, what are you going to be able to overcome in the business, in the podcast recording, in, whatever your day is going to be? And I did actually think, like, this morning I've been quite quite relaxed. Like I've got quite a big to-do list today, but I had a meeting this morning, then I worked out. It's just been quite chilled. And I was like, is that the reason why I'm not being able to do these planks? Because I'm not in that beast mode, not in that headspace, not in that right discipline and get stuff done. So I'm just not in that headspace today. And I just think the lesson I've got from it is like, I think the fact that I'm being quite relaxed in the businesses today is actually showing up in the training. And I think likewise, if you show up in the training and you're disciplined and motivated and you get the things done that you say you're going to do, you do those hard things. It's like that shows up in the business as well. I like every morning at the end of my shower, I do a cold shower. I think you do this too. Well, in fact, you do way worse than that. But at the end of my shower, my rule is like consistently. I've been doing this for years and years now. Is like I turn the shower onto cold for 30 seconds. And I like sometimes I'll be like 5 seconds through and I think I'll just turn it off. I'm in a rush. I've got stuff to do. But really, that's just my mind making a reason why I can finish that cold shower early. And I'm aware of that. But I think if you because it's like it's only 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 10 seconds. Like, does it actually matter? In the grand scheme of things, for my health, probably not. Like, no, it doesn't matter. But what it matters is for my mind, because I've let my mind get away with that one. What else am I going to let my mind get away with for the rest of the day when I've like halfway through making our new branding pack amazing, or I'm halfway through a call with a client, or I'm halfway through briefing a team member on the new marketing strategy that we're going to do, whatever. And then I kind of go, yeah, I've done enough now. I'm a bit tired. I should probably finish. Like, what else am I going to let that do? So I think, coming back to your question, like working out is hard. You never want to work out. I don't anyway. But it's like it's so important because you don't want to do it, and like overcoming it's more than just the body for me. It's more just like the mental push to like do the thing you don't want to do, lift that extra rep, just turn up and do the gym where you didn't want to, because it's like if you can't do that, what are you actually going to do in your day to day? And I think that they definitely mirror each other.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I watched a video once that said the things that you need to do to achieve a good body are the same things that you need to do to achieve a great business, which is discipline, consistency, and delayed gratification. So 100%. If you can get good at those three things, you not only will have a good body, but you'll have a good business at the same time.
What's your definition of a good body? Like, what do you see as a good body?
Being able to move and do the things that you want to do on a day-by-day basis and not have any restrictions on your movement, to be able to play with your kids, to be able to have high energy right from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. You know, I don't believe that while your body naturally starts to look better when you become fitter and more agile, I don't have a picture of what I'm going to look like. I have more of a feeling of what I'm going to be able to do.
That's interesting. So aesthetically for you, you're not that bothered. It's more just about the mobility and the actual being able to function.
Yeah, exactly. And while it motivates me when I see my body change physically, that motivates me, but it's the being able to lift heavier weights. It's being able to be more flexible. It's being able to run around with my kids for longer. Like, we went to Crete and the boys just wanted to play football every single day on this AstroTurf place. And they did a game every single day that was refereed, and they wanted me to play every single time. So I would have felt really bad if I couldn't last the whole game. Nice. And it was nice to be able to run around on the pitch, be, playing with them and not have to go, oh, do you know what? I can't take this. I'll watch from the sidelines.
Have you felt like that before, where you've not been able to do it? Or
yeah.
You've not been able to engage?
Yeah, my life has been waves. So I fully qualified as a personal trainer in 2006. And just before that, I went through a bit of a unfit journey. And that's what made me become a personal trainer. And then I met my ex-wife and then fell into a comfort trap. And that went in a spiral. And then my other one was when I met Kay, I got fit again. And then when we made a lot of money, I sort of enjoyed it a little bit too much. And it's really the year that I came into Property Entrepreneur was the year that I started to fix it for the sort of, I would say, third or fourth final time. And since
Interesting.
then, I've been pretty consistent with it.
So I think one of the things I definitely need to work on, which I'm aware of, is I care about, because I've never had that where I've not been in a place where I can't. I've been relatively. In fact, I did like basically very little exercise until I got to uni. And then when I went to uni, I started running loads, and I got quite fit. So I've always been quite physically fit. So I've never had that moment where I can be outpaced or whatever. And I definitely think one of my biggest challenges is that I definitely care a bit too much about the aesthetics associated with training. And I think
Right.
I would be, and it's something I'd like to change and shift. But I think I had probably a bit body dysmorphia when I was at school, because I was always a bit more bit chubbier than and maybe that was body dysmorphia back then. But I always felt I was like the fat kid, the chubby one. So I think I've always had issues there. I definitely don't think that's good for me. I think getting past that would be a really good bit of development for me to do, which I've tried to do, but I still find it hard. And I'd much rather have your driver, because I think that's I think that's the right one, really. I think that's correct. I think that's how we should be thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's wrong to be motivated by the way that you look, but the ultimate goal is to be able to feel great and live longer, right?
Yeah, but I think the only thing I think is it's not right. The only things I think it's not good for me to be motivated by the way it looks is because I'm also not willing to give up the sacrifice to get to the way I'd want it to look. I mean,
Right, yeah.
I know I've been there. I've done that body transformation. And it's like the way that feels is not good. Like that's not how I want to feel. So yeah, I'm always in this battle of like, I want my body to look better. I want it to look like Instagram, but I don't want to put the sacrifice in. And it's this constant. It's not good because I'm constantly giving myself a hard time about it. So it's definitely something I need to work on. I don't think anyone's perfect when it comes to this stuff. I think you're always trying to work on it and get past things and push forward.
It's an infinite game. Like that's why that's the same as we should view business. Like we should view business the same way that we view our bodies. And that's a really, really good concept to have. I think Simon Sinek says that, business is an infinite game. It's not a finite game. And so is looking after your body. And they both need the same things, consistency, discipline, and delayed gratification.
I think that's probably where the only bit so that's probably where you asked about the book, because my book's called Small Business. Can we go on to business now? Yeah, if we move on to business?
Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah, it's fine.
Because
just let it flow. It's fine.
Yeah, well, one of the things I am pretty passionate about, and about Ultimate FD and what I do now is one of the it's really interesting. So what I said about my body then? It's it's never going to be done. I'm always going to think it needs more, it needs to change, etc. One of the things, the way I think I see businesses a bit differently to people is I see them finish, and what I mean by that is I think most entrepreneurs are constantly growing. It's constantly right. What's next? Okay, we've got to 1 million. Let's get to 1.2. We've got to 1.2. Let's get to 1.5. Oh, what would it be like if we get to 3? And I think that's so admirable for a lot of people. But the more I spend time looking behind the scenes of companies, looking behind the scenes of businesses, looking behind the scenes of speaking to entrepreneurs, I just think that it's a broken mindset. And actually, I think my mindset around my body is a bit broken. I won't ever really be happy with it. Even if I lost 10 kilograms and looked in great shape, I go, all right, I need some more muscle or whatever. I'll never really be happy with it. I just see business a bit differently in that my first trading business that we sold, it was just amazing. And it was literally it wasn't the biggest business in the world. It's probably about £500,000 worth of revenue, maybe a bit less, can't remember. But we're at 40% net margin with a team of people that were doing all the work, and I had to do nothing. Literally turn up. When I say 90 minutes a week, it was 3 one-to-ones a week with 3 senior team people, and even them, they were getting cut down. It was I didn't even need them because they were just running the whole thing. And it could be very tempting for me to go, we should be bigger, or we should do that, or we should change this, or we should do X, Y, Z. But actually, I think there is also another skill set as an entrepreneur to get to a certain level and go, this is actually really good. And by trying to double in size or trying to add on X, Y, Z, or trying to build this new arm of revenue, whatever, this thing could actually break. And I think that's the biggest thing I've learned, or the biggest thing I see, which I actually think is a mistake, is every business has a sweet spot, a level and a size where it just works really well. And the art is to get it to that level and keep it at that level and just enjoy it. Now that's mainly for lifestyle businesses, I'd say. So, but I think my view is most entrepreneurs only actually really want a lifestyle business, because actually who actually wants 30, 40, 50 people in an office, where you're managing HR departments, etc. Some people do, absolutely cool. But I think for most people, getting to that 12-person sweet spot, anywhere from £500,000 to £5 million worth of revenue, making 30 to 40% net margin, that's a really great place to get to. And I think when you get there, you should be like, stop the infinite game and just go, right, that's great, let's milk it or sell it. And I'm quite clear on that. And I think that's a differing view, maybe a bit of a controversial one, but I'd welcome your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've definitely picked up since meeting you and coming into the property entrepreneur circle, and I think I started to realize that even from the first interactions that we had, but it didn't really settle in until I joined the board with directly with Daniel Hill, which is basically our business has a sweet spot, and it's not the only business that we're ever going to do.
Yeah.
It's just the first business that we've done. And actually, the type of business is a very noisy business. And because Kay and I are so used to running noisy businesses, it didn't feel probably as noisy to us as it would to other people. So we were just like, grow it, And my role within the business was always growing it. And we spent from 2018 to probably middle of 2023 growing it. And actually figuring out and having some of the financial issues that we had within the business. We can't grow when we've got financial things to figure out. So, but during that process of figuring it out, we realized that we had a sweet spot that we wanted to get to. And now not so much me, but Kay is definitely putting in the time to optimize it. I'm extremely lucky that I've got Kay, because she effectively is my CEO for our main trading company, which allows me to do things like this. And I feel very, very grateful to be able to do that. And actually, if we can get to a stage where we sort out all the financial stuff, as we've been through a bit of a journey with fraud and clarity and all the rest of it. But once we sorted that out, a bit like you did back when you had that six-figure deficit, we can be in a place where we can either, like you say, milk it and sit there and take our £300,000 to £400,000 a year of profit from it, or we can, sell it at a high, which is, probably something that we'd look into, and then we can always go into other business ventures.
Absolutely. What's amazing is once you get it to that sweet spot where you're making that £300,000 to £400,000 a year profit, and the noise does start to calm down, because it's like it's just the same thing year in, year out, month in, month out, and it's like
stability.
Every year you build more processes and more systems in place, and it just reduces your involvement further and further. I think what's actually amazing is when you get to that stage, the team start to grow it for you. They start to add in more revenue streams you didn't even know existed. So you start with that 300 to 400 starts going 500 to 600, but because you're not creating the noise at the top, the constant growing, constant adding 20% on year, they can do that. And it's just like that. I guess that's my point, is you want to, my perception is, unlike, my issues with my body are not good ones. Like I'll never be happy with it, really. And that's something I need to work on. With businesses, I just see it differently. It's like, there's this level where you should go, right, we're killing this now. Absolutely fantastic. Let's stop. And let's just, rather than focus on the top line anymore, let's focus on the bottom line and start milking the bottom line. And that's really where, in my opinion, the magic happens. And I think that is basically the game everyone should be playing. If you want to grow your bank balance, like, stopping growing the business is often a way to actually grow your bank balance once you get to a certain size. And I think that's the art of being an entrepreneur, is like, how do you turn as much of that top line revenue into bottom line profit? Start thinking like that, as opposed to thinking, how do I get more top line profit in the hope that becomes bottom line revenue? Because often, like you've experienced, it's probably not the case. And the growth clouds issues, it clouds systemic problems that you then find out later. And it's this false economy, which I think is like my biggest message and something that needs to change.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So now that we're on the bank account side of things, what do you think entrepreneurs, I've talked about financial clarity, what do you think entrepreneurs need to question or look at or understand to know if they actually have financial clarity or not?
I think they probably know. I think most of them
You just
actually
know,
know.
you're just not admitting it.
I think it's very rare I meet an entrepreneur with actual financial clarity, and sometimes they think they have because their tax accountant gives them the end of year returns. They're like, "Look, see, I know what my numbers are, whatever." But
Right.
I think most people know. But I think the document or one report, I would say, like, if you have this and you understand it, then it's the key to financial clarity would be your balance sheet. And I think like 98% of entrepreneurs don't understand what balance sheet is. I think even fewer of those people, even more of those people, like everyone has a balance sheet by definition. Most of those, even more of those people, like if they actually looked at their balance sheet, they wouldn't understand what was on their own balance sheet. And I think it's like probably the most important document. So I say if you don't actively review a balance sheet, if you don't understand the balance sheet, and if you do review it, you don't understand what's on your balance sheet, I'd say you can't have financial clarity. And the reason for that is because there's basically a whole blueprint that we teach about how you can make more money in your business. You've read my book, and if anyone wants a copy of my book, reach out. I'll give you a signed copy free. So just reach out. There's 3 steps initially to get financial clarity. It will be your systems and software. I recommend everyone uses Xero. Just cut through it. Like, don't waste time. Just use Xero. It's fantastic. Then we have the 4 professionals, which is basically a team of people to actually run that system for you. It's probably a bit lengthy to go into that now, but there's certain people in different roles that you pay the different prices to actually do this stuff for you because no one wants to do it themselves. And then that output, which is the bit you should be reviewing. So whether you've got that stuff or not, the thing that you should be reviewing as an entrepreneur is the 3 pillars. And there's basically 3 statements you need to look at. P&L, which is where everyone starts. That's your past performance. So what happened last month? So you understand what's happened last month so you can influence future months. So, it's like saying in investments, past performance does not mean future results, but actually looking at past results in your business means you can influence future performance. Because if you look at stuff and go, right, we're paying way too much on subscriptions. Why is our revenue too low? You can start making decisions to influence future performance.
Yeah.
That's where people start. The second place a lot of people like to go to is cash flow. So they go, right, well, I understand how we're doing from a P&L perspective, but now I need to understand our cash because I'm starting to buy property, or we've got a client account, or I know I owe HMRC 50 grand in 6 months. We need to start planning for that. So they start going, well, okay, what does our cash flow look like moving forward? And they do their best at that. And it's like, fair play for trying. It's great to have that and understand what your cash is looking like over a 6 to 12 month period. We'd always advise you have at least a 12-month cash flow forecast in your business. So those are the first 2 steps, and people naturally start to kind of try to do them themselves because it's more comes from a kind of need. It's like, well, I need to know how we're performing. What's my cash going to look like in 6 months? I feel nervous. Let's work that out. But the third one that people don't do is your balance sheet. And why is this so important? Well, if you think about what a balance sheet is, it's basically, there's another term for it in accounting called statement of financial position. So basically, it is a statement of your financial position. It's basically telling you where you're at now, like your present situation, like right now, but also it tells you what's going to happen in the future. So it's really important because if you think what is actually an asset, so if you have an asset on your balance sheet, which could be age receivables, for example, which is basically maybe £100,000, that's telling you that right now you've got an asset, you are physically owed £100,000 into your business. Why is that important? Because that's already hit the P&L as income. There's not yet been received as cash. Your balance sheet is saying it's stored there because in the future the cash is going to come in, which then informs your cash flow forecast. So if you don't have a balance sheet and you're trying to do a cash flow forecast, it's going to be wrong. And if your balance sheet is wrong, your P&L is going to be wrong. So this document in the middle is like one of the most important elements in all of accounting. And we always teach people to move from bank balance to balance sheet. So your bank balance is great. Look at it now. Could have £100,000 in there. Look at it 2 hours. It could have £10,000 in there. So it's not really a good indicator of what's going on. But your balance sheet has all of this there because it's a basis, right? This is your bank balance. This is what money is due to you. This is what money you need to pay out. And if you don't have a grip on that, then you can't ever manage your business financials effectively. And if it's wrong, that means either your P&L is wrong or your cash flow forecast is wrong because it basically sits in the middle between those between those two documents. So that's the one that I think people need to understand.
Yeah, and I totally echo that. That's where I was. That's what I learned from you. And one of my big goals for 2025 is to work off the balance sheet in every single one of our companies. You know, I want to be asset managing essentially,
Exactly.
and that's the only place that you can do it from. Like in your life, you know, the past has already happened, the future hasn't happened yet, and the only way you can impact it is now.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what your balance sheet is, right? It's for how you impact everything.
Yeah, the problem comes, and I do kind of understand why people don't get it, is because what I think the biggest culprits for kind of messing this up for people is generally tax accountants, because what tax accountants do is at the end of the year you'll get a position and they go, right, my profit is £500,000. Okay, we want to submit that to HMRC, but actually we can make some adjustments with your director's loan account, your dividends, your working from home allowance, your mileage, whatever it may be. So they make adjustments. But the way they do that is they may adjust your P&L, but they also put the counter side of those adjustments on your balance sheet. Now, obviously, I don't want to get into the technicalities of all of that and why they do that and how that works. And it does make actual sense for them to do that. But they basically create numbers in one place and they put it into a certain place so they can influence another place. And then what happens is they just sit there for years and years and years. And you get 5 years down the line, you go, what's this 200 grand adjustment for, I don't know, write-ups? And you're like, I don't know. And you finish with your tax accountant, they don't have a record of it. And it's like you've just got this weird stuff that's all over the place that they've just used to kind of move numbers around to get the answer they wanted. And like that is the biggest challenge. So I'd say if you look at your balance sheet and there's loads of lines in there, loads of numbers you don't understand, like it's not good enough. You need to say to your accountant, your finance manager, whoever it is, what is this? And you need to just change the line next to it to say loan from Jane Harvey, 6% payable in April 2025. Like, don't be embarrassed to ask, to literally change the lines so that you actually understand them. And
Yeah.
my biggest top tip. And if there's anything on there you don't understand, you've got a problem and you need to sort it.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. So my last question on the bank account before we sort of start wrapping things up. Cool. You built Financial Fortress and technically retired yourself at the age of 33. What was the number one principle that got you there? And maybe tell everyone what a financial fortress means to you.
Yeah, so financial fortress is a term which has been used and created by Property Entrepreneur, which I'm a trainer for. And basically the whole concept here is you build a certain level of low risk, low return assets. And an asset would be something that's quite a boring asset. So it could be a single let property, it could be gold, it could be index funds, something that's quite low risk, low return. And basically you get to a place where that bank of assets, the net value of those assets generates a high enough return for you to basically replace your income if you wanted to. So, I'm quite open about it. My family needs £6,000 a month to live a very comfortable life, mortgage, holidays, spending, absolutely everything. So that's about £72,000 a year. So if I were to build a net wealth of £1 million and earn 7% on that £1 million with low risk, low return style assets, then I've completed my financial fortress, because it means that I no longer need money from my businesses to feed my family, to live the lifestyle that we want. And of course, everyone's wildly different. You could need 200 grand a year. That's absolutely fine, but you might need to build, a £2-3 million wealth with a return, like a return to get you that 200 grand a year, whatever that may be. May be for you. So that's the concept. And I managed to do this by the time I was 33. I mean, like, how did I actually do that? I mean, it took me like 10 years or so to actually get there. I think the biggest piece of advice I would give to anybody is make money in business. But when you make money in business, invest it in property, or invest it into something.
Yeah. So
I think, what did I do? Well, I got good at making money in the companies. I got good at making money through mentoring, through the businesses, through property, for absolutely everything. And I basically, for years and years and years, which isn't the sexy answer, I didn't really spend much of that money at all. I just used it to reinvest and build wealth over a period of time. And that's it. And that's the answer. Like, I can't make it more exciting than that. I think the only thing I did do, which is not for the faint-hearted, is I'm quite impatient. So I didn't earn 100 grand and buy a property. I borrowed 100 grand, bought a property, and then paid the 100 grand back over a couple of years later. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think the biggest thing, like, and I was thinking about this the other day in the shower, the biggest thing that, I don't know why this shower bit's relevant, but it's, I think the biggest thing that I have done, which has got me further quicker, and I think you're the same, like most entrepreneurs I know that are successful, is we never see a lack of resource as the problem. So I speak to people and say, look, why don't you just buy some houses? Why don't you buy this? Or why don't you do that? Why don't you invest in this? And they go, oh yeah, but I don't have the money. So, okay, is that really a problem? Like, borrow the money, find the money, get the money. Like, you'll find the money. And I maybe naively, from the age of 25 to the age of 33, or however long it was, I never saw that as a problem. So I'd find a deal and go, right, well, I need to find 80 grand now to do this deal, to put the deposit down and do the refurb. And I never let that stop me. So I just would find the money and I would do the deal. And then the back end, I wasn't like, well, I now need to pay the 80 grand back. I was like, well, yeah, I do need to pay that back. So I took some money out in the refinance, and I said to the investor, I'll pay you the money back, or you can keep it with me. I'll pay you the interest. And I just pay stuff back over years. So I had some investors that were 5 or 6 years getting paid every month till I could eventually pay them back. And it's quite a painful process to kind of keep putting money, paying all these people off. But eventually, fast forward, you get a portfolio which, a nice multi-million pound portfolio, nice net worth in there with a nice return on it, which means that you can essentially retire and finish and not have to work anymore.
Excellent. I think, it sounds simple and boring, but that's the point. Slow and steady wins the race, right? If you build it up slowly, steadily, find the money. And I think was it Tony Robbins that said it's not your lack of resources, it's your lack of resourcefulness.
Absolutely.
And that's it. If you find a good deal, you should be able to find the money from somewhere. That's what I've always lived by. And actually, since I got over this, spend, live the high life of 2021, 2022, when our business exploded, we actually tripled the amount of properties that we had over an 18-month period, because I actually thought, you know what, I've got to start building my assets up now,
Nice.
because I need something to protect me. Because if shit's going to happen, I need that moat around my fortress, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's really interesting about that, because remember you said you spend, and then you put on a fair bit of weight.
Yeah.
You kind of, in your head, it's like you're going to make all this money and it's really exciting. You're going to start earning 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, like however much it's going to be. And you think, wow, imagine what I could buy with all that stuff. But it doesn't take long for you to kind of get out your system and realize that more meals out don't do the opposite. Like, it makes you feel crap. All these things you think you're going to spend money on, eventually you kind of go, I don't actually want or need any of this stuff. You buy a nice car, whatever it is, then you kind of get 3 months down the line, then you're like, I'm not that bothered about this thing anymore. And I think that's the biggest thing as well. Like I think just keeping your costs that you spend personally at a level which you spend on stuff that's important to you. Ramit Sethi talks about your rich life. Like spend loads of money on the things that matter to you and don't spend much on the things that don't. But keeping that relatively stable and at like a minimalist level, whilst you continue to grow and scale and get a business to a really great place that's lucrative and high margins. I think that's what it's all about. And it's that is the game I think that everyone should be playing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, cool. So thank you for that. I've got some quick fire questions for you to wrap things up.
Cool.
What's your favorite book?
My favorite book is The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch.
Oh, okay. Why?
Have you read it?
No.
Well, if you read it, you know why. It's basically there's a concept in America called the last lecture, where they basically at university, lecturers give their last lecture as if it was their last lecture. It's like, what gift do they want to leave to the world? And Randy is got cancer. He is an academic. He is going to die, and he makes the last 6 to 12 months of his life about this book about him giving his actual last lecture and actually delivering the last lecture. I think there's just so much in there about life, about a lot of like philosophy. It's just an incredible, very sad story, because obviously he's dead now. But this whole book is about him leaving his gift to the world and giving that last lecture. I think it's an incredible book, and I think everyone should read it.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'll take that away, 100%. That leads me on to my next question quite nicely to how do you want to be remembered?
Well, honestly, I don't know. I actually thought about this question. I don't know the answer. I don't think I will be remembered, to be honest. Don't think many of us will be remembered. And I'm trying to get to a place where I'm thinking less about that and just thinking, how do I enjoy each day? How do I win each day? And just how do I add as much value as I can to the people around me? So, I mean, if I was remembered, it'd probably be along the lines of just, you know, he gave it everything and tried hard, and he added a lot of value to a lot of people. That's really, that's as simple as it is. Because if I start thinking too big about that question, it gets me, I think it demotivates me rather than motivates me, actually. That's me being honest. Like, that's me being really honest.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, when I think about this question, I think about the 3 deaths that you have, which is obviously when you're physical, when you leave the world, when the last person you know leaves the world, and when the last time your name is spoken. And my ultimate goal is to delay that last one as long as possible.
I love it. I think I understand that goal, but I just think you're also like, I just feel like you're kind of fighting a battle,
a losing battle, yeah. You're not going to be Jesus.
You can't really control. When you said that, like, what I mean, if I go very simplistic, like what do I actually care about? I mean, all I really care about is that my kids had a good relationship with me, and that I was a good dad, and we had a great time, and they remember me fondly. I mean, that's all I actually give a shit about, to be honest with you. The rest of it is like, but I think how am I going to make that happen? Well, it's because I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing. I'm going to be pumped to what I'm doing. I'm going to enjoy working, keep in good shape, give them the time that they need. And I think that's all I've really got at this point. I think that I love what you said, by the way, like about that length of time where people keep speaking your name. I just don't know. Maybe I'm under ambitious, but I just also know that I'm also good at starting to worry about things that probably. I was listening to a podcast literally this morning with Alex Hormozy. I don't know if you heard the new one that's come out of Chris Williamson.
Oh no, I haven't.
Oh, it's fantastic. He was just basically saying, like, he could be a lion's lunch. Like, he could literally be eaten by a lion, and he would just be someone's meal, and that would be it. That would be the end of his life.
Yeah.
And I sometimes think about that. It's like sometimes I think trying to get too caught up in that stuff. For me personally, I think it gets a bit much, and I wish I could give you this really stoic.
No, everyone's individual, aren't they? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
all good. That's fine. So, if you could leave our listeners with one thing today, what would it be? I
think the biggest thing I'd leave your listeners with today would be, assume you're an entrepreneur, which is what this is all about. Start a company, enjoy that company, grow a great team, get it to a sweet spot, and just enjoy every moment of getting it there. Because it's hard to do. You will get there in the end if you stick with it long enough. But just be really clear what the successful business looks like for you. Like, remove your ego. Like, what actually would be a great business for you? And that could be £500,000, only 40% margins. You know, that could be a life-changing sum of money for you. And you could sit there and you could be enjoying that business forever, and it could free you up to do everything that you want to do. And I think just tuning into the whole ethos of, like, we give up what we want to get what we want. So we want free time, so we give up all of our free time to get free time. But actually, it's this false economy, in this fallacy that we actually never actually achieve it. I just think, for me, it's all about small business, big profit. Really create this amazing lifestyle business, amazing team, something you can be really proud of. But don't let growth and your ego destroy the life you could have by just stopping at a certain point and just enjoying the fruits of your labor. That'd be my biggest sentiment.
Oh, brilliant. I think ego is a massive point. Like, what actually are you doing it for, and how much is enough?
Exactly.
You know,
and it's not easy. I get caught up in, I can say this on the podcast, but I definitely get caught up in it all as I'm progressing and moving it forward. But all I can say is that feeling when you finally get a business to where it's working well, it just doesn't require you. The team start taking it over, and they start adding more value than you were doing when you were trying to do the whole thing and you thought you could do it the best. And your clients stop speaking to you and they start speaking to your team, and it just works. That feeling is amazing. But I think as entrepreneurs, we naturally, our go-to it when we get to that point is, oh, we could double in size, and it, and then imagine I can make double the money and still have this incredible business. It's just not the way it works, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The hardest thing is to stop and just to be happy with what you've got and enjoy it for a bit.
Awesome. Love it. So last one, what's one habit that you wish you'd adopted earlier that transformed your life?
Doing what I said I was going to do. I think this, without a doubt, is
excellent.
A trait of very few, particularly I think general humans, but particularly as entrepreneurs. And I think when I started taking my word very seriously, and I started saying, right, I'll get you that by Wednesday, and then I would move heaven and earth to make sure that thing happened by Wednesday, or I'll send you that by Friday, or no worries. I said I'll be at the gym at 7:00 tomorrow morning, so I'll be at the gym. It adds two things to your life. One is a confidence that if you say you're going to do something, you'll actually do it. And that is, like we were talking about earlier, if you say you're going to work out on a Wednesday, you work out on a Wednesday. That's confidence that you can't shift, because if you say you're going to write a book, you're going to write a book. So one is that confidence, which I think is invaluable and an absolute game changer. But the second is you also get very thoughtful and strategic about what you actually say you're going to do. And you don't overcommit to things, which I think is just as important as actually being able to do what you said you're going to do. Because imagine if everybody could live in a world where they were very clear about what they said they were going to do. And if they said they were going to do it, they 100% achieved it. I think that is like a habit that's not easy to achieve. And I'm always working on it, by the way. I'm still not perfect at this, but I'm about 1,000 times better at it. But that habit of like, I guess what's the actual habit? It's like, when you say you're going to do something, you do it, you make sure that happens. And I think that's like something that I've picked up over the years, which has been phenomenal. And it's like, without a doubt, changed my personal and professional life in so many ways over the last few years while I put it in place.
Yeah, I think also, it's just, it builds, like you said, it builds that confidence. But when you do the things that you say you're going to do consistently, it also builds competence as well. So you get better at those things. And then it's a snowball effect. If it can work one way or it can work the other. If you never do what you say you're going to do, it's a downward spiral. If you always do what you say you're going to do, it's an upward spiral.
Yeah, exactly. You've nailed that perfect.
But yeah, brilliant. Love it. So do what you say you're going to do. So just to finish things off then, where can people connect with you, grab your book, or start working with Ultimate FD?
Well, if you want to connect with me, you can find me on social media. You got Josh Keegan on Facebook, or you got the_ultimate_FD on Instagram. But if you go onto Instagram and follow me, the_ultimate_FD, and just DM me book free book or Grant's book or whatever you want, just basically spell the word book. We'll request, my team will probably jump on, they'll request your address, and then we'll send you a free signed copy of my book, and you can get that no problem at all. And you can enjoy that. It's a gift to your listeners. And then just check out the website or check out the podcast, ultimatefd.co.uk, for all of our podcasts, or go on the website and learn about what we do. No pressure either way. I just hope I've added value to you guys. But I know the book had an impact on you, Grant, and it helped you. So I'd say worst case, get a copy of that and have a read and see what you think.
Excellent. Well, all that stuff will be in the description. So if you didn't quite catch that, just go to the description on the show and you'll be able to connect with Josh, no problem. But that's it.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for joining us, Josh. It's been a great conversation. I look forward to seeing you soon.
I loved it. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye.
If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. You are a carnivore entrepreneur. Live life how it was supposed to be lived, on your terms, with strength, energy, and purpose. I'll see you on the next episode.